Hi, and welcome back to CW's Fly Tying. Today we're going to be tying the October Caddis. This is a fly that I have a great deal of luck with in the fall, but I also use it during the rest of the season too, tied in different sizes and colors. So this fly is tied on a Tiemco TMC 102Y hook, but you may use any dry fly hook to tie it on. My thread that I'm using is 14-aught Vivus thread. It's a very fine diameter thread, but it's pretty strong for its diameter. And I'm going to start that about 2/3 of the way up the shank of the hook from the bend, and I'll wrap back to the bend of the hook where I'll remove the tag end. Next, I've selected a rooster hackle, and this is a dark barred ginger hackle from Whiting Farms. I'll strip off some of the fibers from the butt of the hackle, and then we'll tie that in right at the bend. And I'll move my thread right back to the tie-in point. Now I tied this hackle in so that the concave side is facing me. That way when I wrap the hackle forward, the hackle fibers are going to be pointed towards the eye, which is going to be a little bit better as a skittering pattern, as you sometimes want to do with caddis patterns. The dubbing that I'm using is a kind of a buggy dubbing. This is a burnt orange dubbing, and you could use just about any synthetic or natural dubbing in the appropriate colors. This actually has some rubber legs that are blended into it, so it's going to give kind of a spiky effect. And we'll go back in and trim out some of the ones that poke out. So I'll create an abdomen right back to the thread tie-in point. Like I said, we want to come back in and just trim out some of the longer rubber legs that are sticking out. Next, I'm going to take my rooster hackle and I'm going to just palmer that forward, almost creating a rib. Through the abdomen. This kind of makes the fly buggy, but it also provides a great deal of floatability on the water. You can fish this fly in fast water or slow water, and it works pretty much equally well. There are a couple of modifications that I make when I'm fishing it in really slow water, is I'll trim that hackle flat on the bottom when I'm all done with the fly. Now I'm going to create an underwing, and to do this I'll select a couple of CDC feathers. I'm using natural brown CDC from Trout Hunter. I really prefer Trout Hunter CDC on my flies just because they sell a very premium quality of CDC. So I'll take these two feathers and I'm going to match the tips up, and I want the convex side up so the CDC just kind of lifts up from the back of the caddis. And we'll tie that in right on top. For length, I want it just a little bit longer than the abdomen of the fly. So we'll trim those out, and then I'm going to cover the butts of the CDC with a few thread wraps. Okay, next I'm going to tie in the overwing, and to do this I'm going to prepare a couple of hen saddle feathers. These are hen saddles from Whiting Farms as well. And what I'll do is I'll take and stroke back parts that I'm not going to use. And then I'm going to take a drop of lacquer and put right on top of the wing. And I'll take my thumb and forefinger and just stroke that over and over until it begins to dry. It'll start to get tacky, and then pretty soon you'll feel that it's dry. So I prepared a couple like that, and then I'm going to tie them in one at a time. So I kind of angle those, and I want them approximately the same length as the CDC. So I'll make a couple of kind of loose wraps over the top. Then I can just adjust it with my fingers if it's not quite the right length. And I'll take the second one and lay it in. And tie them in like a tent wing. A few more wraps just to secure that in place. Take a look at it, and that's what it looks like from the top. And then we will once again get our rooster hackle. Strip a few more fibers off the butt of that. And we'll tie that in this time so that the concave side is facing away. And these fibers, these hackle fibers, will point back into the fibers that we've already palmered forward. So we'll get a little bit more of our dubbing and create a thorax. It's not going to take very much, just enough to wrap forward as a thorax. Once again, I'm going to go in and kind of just clip out any really long ones. And now we'll go ahead and wrap our hackle forward. Number of turns of hackle is really a preference, but I kind of base it on the water that I'm fishing and the fish that I'm fishing to. If I'm fishing to really difficult fish, I just want enough hackle on there to simulate legs, so maybe just a couple wraps, 2 or 3 most. If the water is faster, the fish don't get as good a look, and I want better floatability, I'll put more turns of hackle on. So we'll trim out the tip of that hackle, and then we'll come back in, whip finish, I usually make a couple of whip finishes just to make sure that knot is secured. And that is our finished October caddis. Like I said, I fished this fly for a variety of species of caddis, but I just change the color and the size as the season goes along. Tie up a few of those and give them a try. That's our finished pattern, and thank you for watching at CW's Fly Tying, and we'll see you next time. Remember to follow me at CEGWILLI on Instagram.